Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back to the show today. Healing You, Healing Me, LLC is the name of the company. And Anna Daniels, Omomarho, joining us here today. We are going to have a great discussion of all the ways she can help us. And her website is healingyouhealingme.com. Welcome to the show today, Miss Anna. How are you?
Thank you, Jill, for having me. I'm doing wonderfully well. How are you?
I'm great. Would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners today?
Not at all. My name is Anna Daniels Omomarho, and I am a native of Charleston, South Carolina, and I own a company by the name of Healing You, Healing Me that seeks to help you figure out all the head stuff, make a plan for change, execute it, and reach the success that you desire.
Ooh, wonderful. I'm excited to hear this. Then you say that your company offers really several different services, right?
Absolutely.
First of all, I think, it's the platform to help people identify, you say, right? The reasons maybe why their goals are unmet. Could you give us some background on that?
Absolutely. So many times people desire to do great things in their life. However, there are things that keep people from moving forward. And we've coined that a process of reasons. And there are several reasons why it's often difficult to reach your goals. Perspective about yourself, how you view yourself, how you view around you. Sometimes you have baggage that you're carrying that you have no idea you're carrying it.
Yeah.
And finally, there's something called the subconscious script. And that's the thing that plays over and over and over in your head again, that really prohibits you from stepping out on faith or stepping out to accept a challenge because somewhere you've heard over and over again that you can't do it, that you're nothing, that you won't be successful. And so we've coined that the process of reasons. And my job is to help anyone who is interested figure out how to get through that process, how to make a plan, and how to overcome and find success.
Beautifully said. Wow. Would you mind if I ask you personally to get to know you first, a little bit about your background?
No,
I think it's important for everyone to know. Thank you.
So about 5 years ago, in 2016, almost 6 years ago, I looked around at my life and my life was really just stale. If I couldn't say it any better. My life was stale. I had gone to school. I had gone to graduate school. I thought I was working the job that I wanted. I thought I was doing the things that I wanted, but I realized that I had fallen into the trap of day in cycle. My life was not fresh. It was not exciting. And I wasn't meeting challenges that excited me and had me passionate about the things that I wanted to do. My daughter was a grown-up, and so I decided that I was going to embark upon a journey that I always wanted to do, and I was going to step out on faith and do it. And without knowing the language, without knowing how to read the language, I sold my business, gave away my furniture, put my daughter in an apartment, and moved to China. I moved to Shanghai, China, and I lived there for 5 years, started a business there, taught, provided counseling. And it was the best thing that I have ever done for my life. Many people ask me, how in the world do you go to a country, especially China, where the language is so hard to learn? And I just knew that I wanted something different for myself. And so because I was able to do that for myself, I sat down and just wrote about all the things that I did to bring that dream to reality. And that's how we came up with this process in this company.
Beautiful. Well, it's exciting now. You're in South Carolina, is that correct?
That is correct.
Whereabouts exactly?
We are in Charleston, South Carolina, which is right on the coast, Kiowa Island, Seabrook Island, all the wonderful beaches here. The weather is extremely hot in the summertime, but a beautiful place to visit.
Great. And I know you do coaching, group sessions, seminars as well, electives, you say, to begin the process of healing. Can we talk a little about identifying maybe some of the things our listeners can relate to today that can be holding them back from reaching their goals? I mean, a lot of us have these limiting beliefs, which I'm assuming that's part of it, right?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things is your perspective. I often show my clients a picture, and I'm sure, Jill, that you've probably seen this picture where, depending on your perspective, it's either a young woman with a really big fancy hat, or it's an old lady with a very long chin. And when I show people that picture, and some people are able to see the young woman, and some people see the older woman, it's amazing to understand that how your perspective can really impact the way you move about the earth. And the way that we gain perspective about ourselves is how we were talked to when we were children, how we were encouraged to do things while we were children, while we were growing up. In classrooms, if you raised your hand and the teacher was excited to hear your question, sometimes you process that perspective as people being interested in what you want to say. Mm-hmm. If your particular experience is the exact opposite of that, then your perspective about yourself may come away reading something like, oh, I'm not interesting. Nobody wants to get to know me. Nobody believes in me. People don't want to even hear what I have to say. And so until we understand first what our perspective is about ourselves and how to change that, we can't even begin to set these extremely high goals and challenges that we want to meet, because we don't first believe inside that we actually can.
Got it. Well, let me ask you this. So limiting beliefs as far as careers, right? As far as people thinking they can't do something, they can't apply for the job, they can't do it. I mean, I'm just using that as an example because I figured there's a lot of people had to, felt held back. We had COVID, right? The past 2 years, and the pandemic has affected so many of us, from loss of life, added anxiety, added stress, loss of jobs, loss of so much. And it's like, I know someone personally who, lost the job and had to kind of reinvent themselves, but it's like not feeling good enough that they could do that. And now all of a sudden he has his own business, never dreamed he could have his own business, but the power of the mind. And sometimes, when things go really wrong and you have no other choice, you dig deep, you believe, but not everybody can do that naturally. And they go to coaches like yourself to have that, to help. And I know there's other people I'm sure that you've helped during COVID, I'm assuming, right?
Absolutely.
Changing that job and career, that's a hard thing to do.
That's an extremely hard thing to do. I will share my own experience with you. I was in China up until July of 2021. And I only came back to the States because my daughter was getting married. And once I got here, I couldn't get back to my job. And so, like your friend that you just spoke about, I totally had to revamp everything that I was doing, and the path that I thought I was going to move in, I no longer had access to that path. And so it's a very difficult thing to do. But the first thing that people have to understand is that you have to be willing to do the work. And then you have to connect with somebody who's going to be a source of encouragement to you, that's going to be a source of motivation to you. And that's going to remind you in your lowest times that you can do this. And perspective plays a big role in that. If your perspective sees COVID as a bad thing, then no matter what, COVID will represent a bad thing and you will never rise above that. But if you can transition your perspective to believe that, wow, COVID happened, it wasn't the greatest thing, but it gave me an opportunity to be in quarantine, to sit in my house and to write down all the things that have been moving around in my mind. Before you know it, you're able to take all of that information along with that enlightened perspective, and you're able to get on the path that you want to be on and change your life. I'm sure, just like your friend.
Yeah, beautifully said. Well, thank you so much. Wow. Okay. I know you want to talk a little bit about, you have an upcoming virtual seminar, so worldwide people can get involved. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So on March the 6th and March the 20th, we are doing a virtual workshop on Give Me the Reasons. And that's some of what we're talking about today. It's an intensive look at why goals are unmet, ways to change your thinking, and how to get to your desired outcome. Those 2 days are open as of right now. And if we need to include more days, the additional days will be March the 14th and March the 27th. We want to be able to accept anybody that's interested in coming. The cost of the workshop is $49.99, and that is payable by Cash App, by Zelle, by Apple Pay. And once you pay that fee for the workshop, there is a workbook that will be sent to you.
Okay.
There is a link for the workshop that will be sent to you, and just other information to help you adequately prepare and get the most out of what we're offering.
Beautiful. All right. Awesome. Good to know. And again, the website, tell us one more time.
The website is healingyouhealingme.com. If you need to email me, you can do so at anna@healingyouhealingme.com. If you are going to pay by Cash App, everything is healingyouhealingme.com.
Yes. Good.
Cash App is healingyouhealingme.com. You are also able to pay by Apple Pay or Zelle using the phone number 917-736-5725. Be sure to include your name, your phone number, and your email address in that information so that we are able to get you your workbook, get you the information for the workshop, and so that you can reach out with any questions or any concerns that you have prior to March the 6th.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that. And let's talk specifically about some of the other services you offer, starting with, coaching in general. You do group, individual, and there's a lot more. So can we start with that?
Absolutely. So we offer one-to-one counseling, and that is done on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, or monthly basis, depending on the person's needs and their schedule. It is done virtually via Zoom or Google Meet or FaceTime, if that works. We really try to be very flexible so that we are able to meet the needs of each of our clients. We recognize that because of the situation that we're in, it's important to be accessible across different platforms so that everybody has access. And in that coaching, we usually provide coaching for 60 to 90 minutes per session. And that coaching just works on the things that you've identified that you want to work on, whether that is working through your perspective, aligning your perspective to where you are currently in your life, whether that is identifying the excess baggage in your life, whether that is really coming into contact with the subconscious script that's playing over and over in your head. Whatever your need is, we sit down with you. First of all, we help you identify what your concern is, and then we work to make a plan to help you understand what coaching will be like in order to help you overcome those challenges. I am not a person that believes that you should have to be in a coaching situation forever. I'm not here to just take your money just because. I believe that there is an expected end. And so we try to outline that end at the beginning so that you're not hopeless or you're not left just wondering, my God, when is this going to end? When am I going to see a difference? And of course, because we try to be very flexible, we allow for changes along the way. We see that there may be some work needed in one specific area more than another, then we're flexible enough to make that change with you, because ultimately your success and your reaching your goals is my success and the success of Healing You, Healing Me.
Perfect. Go ahead.
I also do group counseling, and group counseling are for groups of 12 or less people. And we offer that to help women sort of work through common things that they're working through, whether it's parenting issues, whether it's issues about weight, whether it's dealing with depression, whether it's dealing with anxiety. If there are a group of women who have discovered that they have like challenges, then our company is able to come in, again, help you create a plan, and then address that over a series of groups, over one or two groups. It really depends on what the goal is and the outcome that's desired.
Perfect. And then the corporate seminars as well, you do as well?
We do corporate seminars as well. Just before I left China, I was able to do my final one there. And it's just based on, again, what the company's needs are, whether it is speaking about things that motivate people to change, motivate people to think outside the box. Yep. Those are all things that we offer. Our goal is to help people change their perspective from limited to limitless.
Beautiful. And what is Club Rara? I read that on the website.
So Club Rara is a little club that we've created that actually is in the process of being launched. And it's restorative acts of healing. It is ways in which we are able to connect with women who have joined this club, and they receive weekly text messages that are motivational in nature. They receive worksheets and readings to help them hone in on certain things that they might not have thought about or things that they want to change. And then once a month, we have a call where we get together, and just like a group session virtually, we get together, we talk about our accomplishments, we talk about our challenges, because in group work, somebody always feels like somebody else. And there are ways in which we connect in groups that sometimes I, as a coach, am not able to get across to you. But the woman who's on the phone with you, who has the same exact situation, may be able to say something that causes a light to go on in your head. So those are all the things that we offer. And we're so excited to be able to do that.
Beautiful. Well, it's exciting to have you here. And also, so you used to work as a social worker, therapist, right?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And could I ask you, you say, if you don't mind me bringing up, you faced violence, aggressive behavior, physical danger in the workplace. I mean,
absolutely.
Could you talk a little about that and how you've really found, solace in it and healed in a sense, because look where you are today, but that couldn't have been easy.
Oh my goodness, it absolutely was not easy. Shortly after I experienced domestic violence in my first marriage, I was providing therapy for a couple. And one half of the couple realized that the other person in the couple was making strides to make changes that did not include the longevity of the relationship. And as a result, that specific person became very upset because they saw me as the source of the change that came in their life. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in the car with my client. We were talking about various situations, and all of a sudden a car drove up and blocked us in to the space where we were, which then caused a fight to ensue. And I was terrified, to be quite honest, just having come out of a situation where my husband did some things that were not so savory to me. I was terrified of physical danger. As a result of that, I really had to rethink whether or not helping people was what I wanted to do, because sometimes the help that you offer may not be what someone wants to accept in their life, or their perspective doesn't align with what you're offering. And that's where I found myself. And I decided that my passion for helping people, nurturing people, caring for others was far greater than the fear that I faced. So I had to figure out how to put myself in better situations where I was safer and where those things had less potential to happen to me. And I'm so glad that I did, because I would have missed out on the work that I love. I love seeing the light bulb go off in someone's head. I love seeing change come. I love seeing people reach success. And so I am just extremely happy that I was able to make that turnaround for myself.
Wow. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. Now, we still have 10 minutes left in the show here. What else specifically do you want to add for our viewers today?
Well, I just want to really encourage people to live their best lives. In the last, I'm going to say 3 years, because COVID affected me in China back in 2019. And before moving to China, as I told you earlier, I was just really not very happy about life. And I realized that I had gotten into a mundane pattern, going to work 9 to 5, coming home, doing laundry, going to church. And it was the same thing over and over again. And there was nothing exciting. And COVID forced me in that place in China to have to really look at my life again and make sure that I was taking advantage of every single opportunity. In China, I was in quarantine for over 5 months. And with that being said, I was not able to leave my apartment. I was living in China alone at the time. I was separated from my family as a result of COVID. And so I had no choice but to be there with myself.
Wow.
And I began to think back, just even being in China, over the opportunities that I passed up to travel, the opportunities that I passed up to do things because I was so busy working and doing other things. And I promised myself in that moment that I would never again pass up opportunities when they present themselves to me, because you never know what life is going to bring to you as you travel down the path. And so I just want to encourage our listening audience to make sure that you are taking advantage of every single opportunity. Life offers you a modicum, a plethora of things that you have the ability to take part in. Don't pass up any opportunity that you can because you figure it'll come around again. It may not.
It may not. Yep, exactly. It may not.
It may not. We are still dealing with the effects of COVID. I don't know about you, Jill, but I know in my life, as a result of COVID, I have been separated from my husband because the two countries could not figure out how to work things out. And so we've really had to revamp how we view marriage, how we view life, how we intended to work through the separation, just how. And, you know, life presents each of us with challenges, and it's our responsibility to ourselves to make sure that we face the challenge and seek ways to overcome the challenge so that we're not just left holding nothing.
And what is the process like if you're working with someone virtually? You know, how many months do you need to sign up for, like the group coaching of individual? And it probably varies, but normally how long does it take to really get to that root cause and make a change?
So some people just need maintenance work, and maintenance work looks anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, which is 4 to 6 sessions. Some people need a little longer than that. And really, we determine that based on the initial conversation that we have with the client, what their goals are, what they want to achieve, and then what we hear them saying, things that they may not recognize may be something to consider in terms of working through situations. And so it really just depends on the client, what their needs are, and what their ultimate desire is to gain from coaching. So it could be anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 months to 12 months. It really just depends on the person.
Got it. All right. So just curious for some listeners at home, anything you can give us some tips or advice to start doing today? We want to make that change. I mean, should we be writing our thoughts down? Should we have a vision board? Is there any tools at home that maybe we could start working with? You know, meditation, what are some of the things you suggest?
So one of the biggest things that I take part in daily for my life is that I journal. Journaling is so important because it is a way in which you are able to write down your thoughts, write down your feelings without fear of being judged or looked down upon because you have a certain feeling. And it's also a way to, you know, encapsulate what you're going through at the moment, and a way to look back at where you've come from when you've gotten over that situation. I know many times in my life, part of my motivation has come from me opening a journal that I wrote in 3 months ago and seeing the changes that I was able to make in my life, and being motivated because I had forgotten along the way that those are things that I have done. Additionally, I am also a big fan of vision boards. Get a cardboard, get a piece of large paper, get something that you can put in a place where you can look at every day. Put on that piece of paper your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. Put it on the paper, look at it every day, connect with that thing every day, and you will begin to lead yourself. The universe has a way of bringing us exactly to where we need to be at the moment we need to be there. And if you are constantly, it is, if you are constantly focusing on what you want, eventually you will get to where you are able to achieve that thing.
I love hearing that. That's great. And for those out there that keep making excuses, don't have the time. I mean, busy moms, I get it. We work hard, and I have a trouble with time management. I have a 5 and 7-year-old, and I work full time, and I live alone. So like, that's always seems to be my main goal. And I know a lot of us I have goals and things and wants for myself that I want to make myself better, but I always feel like I'm giving it all to the kids. But then you hear, you got to take care of yourself first. Self-care is important, right? If you can't take care of yourself, put that oxygen mask on first, can't help anyone else. And
Absolutely.
burnout is something that I think, I'm sure as a life coach, you've dealt with people who have that issue.
Absolutely. I tell people that you aren't any good to anyone else before you are good to yourself. And that just talks about self-care. Of course, everybody's busy. There are moms, moms, single dads, people with careers, people with children. Everybody's busy. But there has got to be a time that you carve out 60 minutes just to sit and connect with yourself. That is important. Everybody has to have a vision in order to assist somebody else with their vision. And if you don't take the time to connect with your vision, you can't do anything for anybody else.
No, you say you're right. It's true. All right.
Absolutely.
HealingYou, healingme.com. Anna, again, if we want to reach out to you, is there an initial consultation that we can get? Just, how does it work, the process?
There is an initial consultation. So you are able to go on our website, www.healingyouhealingme.com. And at the bottom of the first page, there is a contact form. You are able to type in your name, your phone number, and then give me a brief synopsis of what you want to share with me. And we will call you back or email you to schedule a time and date that's suitable for you. And again, my hours are very flexible simply because I'm dealing with people not just across the country, but I still have clients in China. So my schedule is very flexible so that the excuse of I don't have time really can't apply, because we figure out how to make time. If you want to reach out to me directly, please dial 917-736-5725. We are on all social media platforms. We have a Facebook page, Healing You, Healing Me. We're on Instagram as Healing You, Healing Me, or you can find me as Coach Anna. Any way that you need to reach me, absolutely, please reach out.
And by the way, on social media, which one is it all, like it's Instagram, Facebook, it's all under Healing You, Healing Me?
Healing You, Healing Me. Yes, ma'am. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all Healing You, Healing Me.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time today and for being here. I appreciate it. And
Jill, thank you so much.
Next time we speak. Thank you. Have a great day. All right. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you can now listen live on the MyTuner Radio and online Radio Box apps for iOS, Android, and the Amazon App Store. Or check us out online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com or search Podcast Business News Network on onlineradiobox.com/US so you don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.